Hello, hello, hello. Today I'm talking with Radek Orszewski. We talked about learning to sail at the age of 9 and being always on the look for constant improvements.
I'm Ivanul from Who's Agile. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to my channel. You see a lot of agilists around me on this screen. If you want to hear me interviewing, please click that subscribe button because these are the people that I've invited so far. If you think I'm missing people, let me know in the comments. And that like button, well, if you liked today's interview, don't forget to click it.
Hello everyone, and hello with me I have Radek. Is that how I should pronounce the name?
Yes, exactly. Radek Orszewski, that's my name.
Radek Orszewski. Oh, I'm sorry, my Polish is not that good.
No.
And with that, I've already gave away a little bit. I want to show for the people here. I'm in Belgium, recording this in Ghent, in Belgium, and we're going, like I said, to Poland, Wrocław, if I'm correct. Of course, I don't
Wrocław,
want
yeah.
Wrocław. I don't want to give the exact location, of course. The
Yeah.
idea is always to give a little bit. And you have been invited by Kate Hobler, who actually lives in the same location as
True,
So
true.
that's-
We are actually, yeah, I would say neighbors, considering the size of the city. We live in the same south part of the city. True.
well, yeah. Well, compared to me, you're definitely neighbors. So
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a little bit on, and we're recording this on a Wednesday. For me, it's 20 more or less 20 minutes after 5. What's the time on your side?
The same.
Because that's how Europe works. Is that
Yeah.
mostly in the same time zone. Sometimes a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
not that much. Now, Radek, for the few people that don't know you, what do you want people to know before we jump?
Oh my. I guess I'm here and probably Kate designated me as a maybe person to be guesting here, for which I really feel honored. Yeah, I professionally try to help people and organizations. This is what I do. This is how I explain it to people who are outside of our bubble. And yeah, probably we will discuss a few topics in details. Yeah, but that's just it. Yeah, I try to help people organize their work, work more pleasantly, more efficiently, in all these crazy days that we live in.
That is something that we can definitely. But that's yeah, I really like the way you pronounce it. Like okay, trying to make people's lives better, it's making it better for patients. That's a nice way of looking. Let's jump into that first question. What is something that people usually don't know about you? That's influenced you.
Oh, this is interesting. It is actually related to my first job that I've been paid for. As like older teenager, my first summer job was being a sailor instructor at sailing camps. And this was the opportunity for me to really be able to teach people something practically, because that was not just a theory, but really like, sailing a boat, which I enjoyed very much.
And
And
because because you go
yeah,
rather quick, you start to teach people how to sail as a teenager.
yeah.
Does that mean that you had already a long experience sailing when you were
Yeah.
younger?
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you
So
skip a part of your life. that
okay.
explains.
You're right, because that's obvious for me that when I was 9, my mom took me to like a place that was a sailing boat, and I was put in, and and this is how I basically by
Wow, at
osmosis
9.
infused. Yeah. And
I'm thinking like, did my children learn to drive a bicycle at 9? Probably a little bit earlier. I'm not sure what they learned at 9, but definitely not sailing. So that's really
okay,
nice.
you see, yeah, yeah. I think that was around actually me learning how to ride a bike. I think these events were not really far apart in my life
Wow.
as a kid. Yes, and yeah, so I started spending all summer holidays on sailing camps since I was 9. So when I was
Wow.
like 16 or 8, close to 18, and I was basically okay to be hired, right? Because I think above 16 you can hire a minor in Poland for some jobs. I was acting as a sailing instructor, and that was really interesting because maybe I was 16 and my students, right, were like maybe 13 or 12, so not much younger, and it's hard to have some kind of I don't know, distance or respect. We're like just teenagers, but I
Hmm.
liked it very much, and I found it that I'm really good at it. And
Hmm.
by the
Because I
fact
can
that they were,
imagine,
Mhm.
we mean, teaching children 13, 14, they might not have a lot of respect for you and see you as
Yeah,
authority. But at the same time, yeah, sailing can be dangerous. So their life might
yes,
depend if they're not
yeah.
listening to you. How did you deal with that as a 16-year-old?
Oh my, that's a good question. I believe what uh, what is now clear for me now is that in our environment we very often talk about leading by example.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, especially if you are like maybe an older teenager, and you teach people who are not much younger than you, or sometimes actually even much older than I was, because that was also the case.
Wow.
Then yeah, you need to show that we play by the same rules. So
Mm.
if we say safety is important, and that's why you have the life jacket during sailing, then you as an instructor also wear it, right? You don't
Right.
expect others to do something that okay,
You don't
I'm
do.
above it, yeah. Like this
Yeah,
is this
so
is
a
it,
little
yeah.
bit like if I want my children to wear a helmet when they drive a bike, I should do the same
Oh,
thing. Very
okay,
similar.
yeah, and I don't think my kids. I have two kids. Have ever seen me riding a bike without the helmet? Yeah, so
Hmm.
consistency and leading by example, and showing that you know what you're doing, you know what you're expecting from people to do, but we do it in a safe environment, right? We do
Hmm.
everything to avoid like really dangerous situations. I believe that was the maybe approach to build this. I don't know if respect is the right word, but yeah, definitely I was you know heard out when I was saying something, right? That this is what we do now. This is what we're gonna teach, etc. Or we're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so like moving forward a little bit from being 9 and being exposed to sailing for the first time, then being like an older teenager, and training people. At that time, the sailing camps were finishing by like official exam, so you got like the
Hmm.
skipper license. So that was like for me a moment to see that okay, I can actually teach these people and they can
And
pass the official exam, right?
so it's an
So
official exam that you don't take. It's someone else that then says, okay,
yes, yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. There's like examination committee. They come and then they take your students, your pupils to like basically see if they can manage the small sailing boat on lakes. Yeah, and why I started with this story, because you asked me about something that people may not know about me, which influenced me,
Hmm.
because what I do today now, maybe like expanding the first sentence I introduced myself with. Um, I like to help people, and a lot of helping is educating, and few years back for the first time, and in last few years I've heard it a few times when people that I've been working with told me that, Radek, you have this great skill that you can explain really complex things with really simple language, with great narrative, with great analogies, right? And I didn't realize that maybe this is some kind of superpower that I have. But it's great that when you don't think you are such a person, but other people come to you and they say, "Oh, this is the third, the fourth, etc. company or training or whatever." When people tell it to you, then you think yourself, "Okay, maybe that's something what I can do quite good." And it doesn't really matter if it's a way of working that I do now, or if it's sailing, like 20 something years ago or 30 years ago. That's the same skill. Yeah. So I believe this is something what influenced me, because when I later looked at which way to go with my professional career, I realized that this sailing training summer gig was like really rewarding personally, right? That you could I could have a feel of accomplishment. Yeah, I have taught someone something useful. Yeah.
And they were happy with it because, well, they had the exam, that's one thing, but
Yeah.
of course I assume they had a 30, 14-year-old. If you can sail, it can bring a lot of joy and feeling
A lot of fun,
a
absolutely.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I would also see like some, I mean, I still remember being the first time being able to drive somewhere with a bicycle or with a car.
Uh-huh.
It feels a lot of freedom. Does
Yeah.
that give the same kind of freedom first time that people are able on a boat to sail?
True.
And were they I kind of skipped kind of things. At 30, 14, were they then allowed to do it alone on a boat, or was that still in crew, or how does that work actually sailing?
Yeah. So it's like that was like some years ago. Now like the licenses have changed, but it's true. I think above 12 years you could sail a small boat to, like, I believe 15 square meters of the sail by yourself, right? So this was like a really powerful license to get, because that's definitely, well, equal to driving license on like public roads, right? But on water. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense, of course.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful story because indeed, if you can teach people at 16 already, if you and yeah, 13, 14-year-olds are some of the hardest to teach something.
Yeah.
I think many teachers and professors or whatever, and I don't know, my children are leaders in scouting, and they also say like, okay, 13, 14-year-old, these are not the easiest ones. The very young ones, the like 3, 4-year-olds are hard to teach anything because basically they don't understand their own body a lot, but they don't do it on purpose. While 30, 14-year-olds is like a lot of time like, nah, I'm here to have fun. Yeah, blah, 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 teacher, blah, blah. And yeah, that's, I can imagine that is hard. So it also means that at that time you already had some, I don't know, some kind of basic skill about understanding people, or were you coached in that way, or how did you learn this?
No, I mean, definitely I wasn't coached to do it when I was like 16 or 18. And maybe it is a kind of natural, skill, talent. I'm afraid to use this word publicly, but I I think you need to first try and be skilled in something that you explain to others. It's really hard to be genuine. It's really hard to be convincing if you do something that you haven't experienced to certain mastery level, like if we say Daniel Pink mastery, autonomy, etc., right? So we want to grow this skill. And
I assume you didn't read the book by that time. I don't think
no,
the book was
I
even
don't think the
out.
book was written there.
But
Yeah,
somehow some of
yeah.
these ideas were already in you, or
Yeah, I think they were. Maybe it's also worth mentioning that my mom was a teacher. Now she's retired, but all her professional life she was a teacher. So I was exposed to maybe this kind of environment as a kid as well.
Right.
And I believe what's also behind it is like I wanted to teach people the way I would like to be taught myself. So how to find an engaging way for, like you said, 13, 14 years old kids who are like really having a hard time to focus. They want to have this fun factor, right? It cannot be too much boring.
And in that sense, you were not that different than they were. I mean,
No,
16, yeah, at 16, I think at some point it feels a little different, but at the same time, if I compare a
right.
13 and a 14 to 16 or compare to 25, of
Hmm.
course, the 16-year-old is
Hmm.
much closer and could
True.
probably remember a little more how it felt.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I also realized many years later, I believe like these days we have quite popular, Kolb cycle or all this, training back from the room techniques, the like differentiating this from like neural perspective, how we learn, right? So this is like what we have in our language every day now in professional trainings and coaching. Of course, that wasn't present in the 90s,
Hmm.
um, but I now see some similarities that I was always trying to do it this way, right? Like you won't learn in an efficient way if the format of the learning is always the same, right? If it's yet another theoretical lesson or yet another attempt to do the same maneuver with a yacht and
But
without any
but
break
But
between.
I'm trying to understand a little bit because training from back of the room also means like people come up with their own idea how to do something.
Hmm.
But if you've never sailed the boat, I have no
Hmm.
idea how I would be able to teach my co-students because I would probably fall off the boat. Be just yeah. So how does that work? Because does that mean that 13, 14-year-olds you let them walk around the boat and ask questions and let them come up with answers and then say, okay, well, that's a good answer. That's not it. Is that how it works?
Hmm.
Or
Yeah, well, once we start, we are on the
Mhm.
boat still at the harbor, right? And we learn
Right.
like what is each rope for and how are different parts moving, right? And this is of course the, I would say, the baseline that you need to have. And if we compare it to what we do in, let's just say, the agile bubble, it's the same. Like, okay, here you have the Scrum guide, or here is what is Kanban or whatever, right? But then
Mhm.
then when we really sail to the lake, and people are familiar with like the very basic maneuvers, and they need to do something more, not even complex, complicated. So, arrange few maneuvers one after another. They can do it differently, right? And for me, it's important that when people are exposed to this kind of situation, we can have this safe environment when we say, okay, what do you think is going to happen, or like, why do you want to turn this way or another? I mean, considering the direction of
Mhm.
the wind, right? So not just blindly, now turn left, right? But okay, what do we want to accomplish? And it's not easy, of course. It's not even it's even harder in our profession today. But I think that's
Mhm.
the way to engage people, right? Like, okay, how do you think? What do you think is going to happen, right? And yeah, that's I think the good way of teaching people any skill, be it sailing, be it ways
Mhm.
of working.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, learning that at an age of 16 or understanding that maybe you learned it before, but understanding at 16, like, oh, I'm not bad at that. And I actually give people, yeah, the end result is that they have an exam or a paper that
Hmm.
proves that they can
Hmm.
maneuver a boat in a way that's really wonderful as a kind of also I can imagine that the confidence it can give you as a 16-year-old, like, hey, wait a minute, not only able to do that on my own, but I can also teach others how to do that. That must be a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, like I already said, it was like very rewarding, right? That okay, you learned by yourself, and now you can share this knowledge and you can empower other people to do it safely. Yeah, that was really
Yeah, I can imagine.
much bigger reward than the money that I was earning at that time.
Although I can imagine at a 16-year-old earning money for the first
Yeah,
time is also rather rewarding. Like, oh, finally I
absolutely.
can, yeah,
Yeah,
I can deal with the world because I have money
yeah,
somehow. It's
absolutely. Yeah.
even if it's a lot less compared to
Mm-hmm.
a full-time job, but
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, I assume you were still on the water, enjoying and having
Yeah,
fun while making money. So that also links it to other things.
absolutely. Yeah. The best of both worlds, right? And enjoying something
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
and but I think it's also really important message to learn because I see so many adults at 13 or 30 or 40 like not enjoying their life, but oh, I'm making good money. Yeah, but you're miserable like 8 to 10 hours of the day. That's a lot. And you as a 16-year-old, you're like, oh, wait a minute. With things I like, I can also make money. So that's a very important life lesson. I would work shouldn't be boring or shouldn't be.
Absolutely. Um, I could sign under this statement 100%.
Well, I guess because you learned at 16, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's move to that next question. If you had been doing what you've been doing now, what would it be? Was there, for example, a dream for you like, oh, I will do this my whole life, teach to sail boats, or was there another thing you wanted to do as a younger age? I guess?
Oh, I, I need to say that I ended this sailing trainer career or period in my life when I started studies at the university. I didn't have so much time for it, but I also had, I would say, periods of being interested very heavily in different things. I worked few years as a journalist for still
Wow.
paper magazines. I know that today it's like almost extinct, but also web services like websites. And this is, I would say, the next skill that I discovered in myself, that I can write in a, let's just say, engaging way, and or communicate, not only write. Um, and honestly, I'm back to sailing in last few years, and I think about doing more of it. So who
Hmm.
knows? Maybe that's the alternative path for my career. Um, Honestly, some people make jokes that if I wouldn't be the person who I am professionally, I could try be a stand-up comedian because I like to
Wow.
entertain people. and, and I believe it's also important from trainer, coach, consultant perspective, that lowering the guard, lowering the resistance, lowering the maybe stiff situation that we find ourselves by introducing some good humor, right? Is something
Hmm.
that makes so many things so much easier, right? So
Well, yeah, it's much easier to, well, to convince is maybe the wrong word, but to engage with a person
exactly.
when it's a
Yeah,
pleasant conversation and when there is
yeah.
jokes around. So yeah, definitely. Um, so and so you said like, okay, you stopped that career of teaching when you were at university. You started writing journal. Um, where was there at any point when you were doing some of these things a desire to do that for the rest of your life, both with maybe the sailing as a journalist? Was that, or did you already have other plans, but it was just like, okay, this is just the way to do it right now?
No, I don't think I had like a grand master plan for myself. I don't even know if I have for the rest of my life to come.
But that's thank you for sharing, because
Yeah,
I think so many people when they're 20, they feel like, oh, I have to be, yeah, I have to know everything what I'm doing, and I have to be ready, and I have to have that master plan. Well,
mhm,
actually, a lot of people 40, 50, like I am, they have very similar reactions to what you have, like, oh, I don't even have them, I don't know what I will do in a
yeah,
couple of years, I might
yeah.
still change my careers and other things. And that's, I think.
Absolutely. I believe we live in such, uncertain world with so many changes, both good and bad, happening. That it's, I would say, uh, some kind of overconfidence to say, "Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep doing this, yeah, or having this job for I don't know 5, 15 years from now." And now, when you said it, I recall interesting podcast episode which I listened, I think earlier this week. The podcast is called "People I Mostly Admire," and the guest of this episode was Professor Arnold. She's a Nobel Prize laureate in chemistry, and she shared her story that she was a young teenage rebel. She was really bad at school, and she never followed, let's just say, I think that's like a quote, what other monkeys do, and in the end she discovered chemistry as something really interesting to her. And yeah, she's now like the Nobel Prize winner, and doing the really cutting edge discoveries, or already
So
done some
from
of them,
not
right?
so from not
Yeah,
going or not paying attention in school to
yeah,
being
yeah,
Nobel Prize winner, like, yeah, okay, that's a big
yeah.
stretch, and
Big stretch, right? And she said like she never had this plan like, oh, I'm gonna win the Nobel Prize, right? So
I
even
doubt
such
that
things
anyone who
happen.
wants to does it for this reason might actually win it, but
you,
maybe they are.
I mentioned this because you said like my statement that I don't have the master plan for
Mhm,
myself, being like over 40, may sound silly, but I believe we have, like you said, people who are like in early 20s, who are like um really formatted, that you need to go this way, that you cannot let it go, that you cannot really skip anything, right, from the roadmap that you have for yourself,
mhm,
right, which is dangerous, right?
mhm. Yeah, but I doubt. Well, maybe there are some 20-year-olds who have their idea. I want to win Nobel Prize, and we'll see then in 20 or 30 years if they actually do it.
Hmm.
But I think, yeah, the well, I don't know, the more narrow that a certain goal is, the harder it is. But again, I don't want to hold back other people for having goals. Don't
Absolutely,
want to have that.
absolutely,
That's
yeah.
But it's also good to relook at what we are doing. And in that sense, I want to move to that next question. What do you consider your biggest challenge right now? Of course, the biggest challenge that you want to share openly on the internet, and why is it?
Hmm. um okay, I don't want to sound like Japanese 90 years old sensei, but when I look at my life so far, the events that happened without my full control or intention actually played out to be good stressors, let's just say. And I believe I am concerned about what is going on around professionally. We have this whole AI revolution or AI bubble, depending who do you hear.
Mhm.
We have uncertain economical or geopolitical situation. Probably the more to the east from your location, at least in Europe, the harder you feel it. And I think I'm really uncertain about the future in a way that yeah, I cannot say that I'm really confident how the future will look like. And it makes me think and prepare and consider other scenarios. And what I mean by that is like, it never really was good to be in a comfort zone. Like, I'm in full control. I know what's gonna happen, right? I mean, this is maybe even evolutionary proven, right? That if we have this equilibrium, if we have this situation when everything is certain, everything is safe, it's dangerous because it makes us lazy. And yeah, I think like many people in our professions, I'm thinking about, okay, what the future will bring, how to adapt, how to prepare for it best. And yeah, maybe hopefully the skills that I already mentioned, that I have so far proven to have, will be helpful with it. Yeah, that's it. So I know the answer is to this question is not really concrete. That, okay, are you afraid of global climate change? Yes, I am. Yeah, and being a father of two kids, I'm afraid about the quality of life in on Earth in, I don't know, decades from now. I don't know if I can do much about it, more than I try to do. But in general, I believe I look at the uncertainty as like a environmental stressor to be not lazy.
Mm, I get that. Yeah, and it's like you say, sometimes it's hard to put for exact details challenges. Um, I noticed in this more than 200 episodes, and I've noticed that many people come up with, yeah, it is indeed kind of hard to have to live in this VUCA world where a lot of things changing, like you say,
Mhm.
geopolitical, but also the environment. A
Mhm.
lot of things are happening. Um, we have AI, we have lots of other challenges
Yeah.
in our jobs, economical. So there's a lot of things going on. And at the same time, like I hear you say, like you have acquired quite some skills that, yeah, gave you the ability to adapt over the year. Um, what the second part of that question is, why is that a good thing for you? Are there things that you're happy about these challenges, or is there anything good about that?
Well, I think that the good thing is like how you look at it, right? So of course I could say there are things which make me depressed. For many years, since being a teenager, I was a subscriber of American Scientific magazine, still on
Mhm.
paper many years ago. And I dropped this subscription because pretty much in every monthly issue there was like completely depressing article about the climate change.
Mm.
Seriously. And I said, okay, this is beyond my control. I don't think I can do anything about it. Okay, I can try to reduce my carbon footprint, I can save water, I can whatever we do, whatever we try to do on a daily basis. But globally it's beyond my control. And if I look at this, challenging times, I believe many things are still within my control. So that's why I find it like, okay, maybe my wife says like, don't be paranoid. Don't try to reinvent yourself harder than you need to, right? Or adapt to things that may not realize, right? But I prefer to look at it from this perspective, right? That okay, as much as I don't have much to do in the global climate change or crisis, there's definitely much more empowerment regarding what's going to happen to me, to my family, to my health, etc.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now I should start to like whistling, always look on the bright side from Monty Python.
But yeah, I get it because yeah, getting depressed doesn't help you either. I
No.
mean, and like you say, we can do certain things, and at the same time, we should also look like, okay, there have been challenges before. We'll find ways, and of course, we
Hmm.
shouldn't ignore the things, and we should
Hmm.
say you a couple of. Um, but other than that, you shouldn't worry like 100% of the time, because then it's depressing. That doesn't help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand, and in that sense, it's good to be aware. It's good to have some knowledge, and at the same time, also free your mind from not worrying too much, because actually there might be good ideas coming without that worry if you're already aware.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of brings me a little bit certain to that next question about what drives you. Is like, for example, the changing, the climate change, and these kind of things. Is that a driver for you in what you do? Are there other things that drive you?
Um, so I already said that I heard a few times that people say, Radek, you have the skill of explaining things easily, and the other thing that I hear about myself is like, especially people who work with me longer, right? Not just they see me in a, I don't know, class or like single consulting session or something like this, but people who know me longer, who work with me longer, they say, you are this guy who never has enough of improvements of ideas. So
Hmm.
so I believe what drives me is this um intrinsic inner, I don't know, look out for improvements. So sound professionally, of course, it's great. Privately, sometimes it's annoying because I find something and I try to improve it at home, at whatever car in any place, right?
So, and then your partner and your children, like, come on,
Yeah,
do you have to
yeah,
improve
yeah.
everything?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I
And I,
recognize that.
I know that my older son, who's teenager, find myself in these cringe situations, when I when I'm in a public place and I say like, how come it doesn't work? Like, what can we do about it, right? Like, what I'm already in, right? Okay, I'm just a customer, but I'm already asking like, how can we improve it? How can we change it, right? And I know that as much as like you mentioned, it can be annoying like in a private life. I believe professionally it drives me, right? That I like my small improvement projects. That let's do something different. Let's do something better. Let's see how could we simplify it, make it more efficient, etc. um I never realized like what's behind it. Maybe that's a topic for like a therapy or whatever, finding your
Mhm.
your inner motivators. But no, I believe I'm just like that, right? That I like I just like you said, okay. um some people would say, yeah, maybe it's interesting job what you do because you find new environments, you meet new people, you travel sometimes, etc. But it can be very very energy draining if you don't do it with like a genuine interest, right? And I believe that's, and again, maybe something that I have as this inner motor going forward. And that's why I find myself or find this kind of job rewarding.
Yeah, and I recognize a lot of these things about about improving the world. I recognize walking around and then almost immediately seeing, yeah, I don't know, ways how to improve a store, ways how to improve whatever. And I can definitely recognize that a lot of people around me might be like, we're just having a
Mhm.
fun day or whatever at the store. So
Yeah.
I recognize that a lot of us have that. Um, but like you say, sometimes it's also good to, okay, let go and see how can not worry about the whole. But it's a nice drive, because of course it helps. It works for the clients that you work for at the moment. You're asking something
Mhm.
is that you have some kind of skill that is good at seeing what are things to.
Mhm. Now, listening to how you summarize it, I believe like what is a driver inside me that I can name is curiosity. So I I'm really curious about so many things that people find, okay, it's just like that, right? When I look at, podcasts I listen to, or books I read, or videos I watched, they are like very often deep into topics which are like, okay, like why spend time on understanding it, right? And I was always very curious about, the universe and life and everything. So, um, so yeah, I can go deep into many topics, many domains, and I'm not bored. I'm not this. Uh, Pushed away or by maybe complexity of it. Sometimes this knowledge is probably the knowledge I'm never gonna use, but sometimes maybe it will help me to build this narrative, this explanations, analogies. So yeah, I'm curious. I would love to have time, like, extend the day by extra hours spent on reading or listening or something, which is of course the luxury that we don't have.
That's definitely. Okay, let's move to already that next question, because when you have that drive, when you have that passion, you achieve also things. So, what would you consider your biggest achievement?
Oh my. I will share personal story. I believe like my family is really my biggest achievement. I'm like, in a way that, we love each other. We are here for each other. We uh yeah, try to live our lives the best we can. Again, personal story, I was raised without a father, with like a single mom, so for me it's like a new to be in a situation that I'm at as a father of two. um and that's like private perspective. Professional perspective is, I don't think it's a single thing. It's just like uh these moments when I discover what kind of impact I had on other people. And literally today, I receive a call from like a person that attended my class, and we worked together maybe just few days only, like 6 years ago. And he called me and he says, Radek, this impacted me so heavily. I still remember our meeting, and it's so great to catch up again, because now maybe we're gonna have another opportunity to meet and work together. And this is really great achievement that you can be this person that does something, says something, expose them to some experience which change them in a way that you had no idea about, right? And just like by a pure coincidence, you meet these people again a few years later, right? And they say, well, I never had opportunity to tell you, but this was really significant change in my mindset, in my way of working, my way of looking at work, etc. So professionally, I would say these moments are like greatest achievements. And I'm naive, and I believe the biggest achievement is still to come.
Well, yeah, that's always why I ask at the end. So far in that question, indeed, I do hope that it doesn't mean that when people
Yeah.
everything else is gone. Of but I really loved your well, the full answer. The last part of the story is really wonderful that you, after a couple of years, people take contact again and tell you, like, because I feel that we don't do that enough as a community or as a species, to just tell people like, hey, you know what, that time, 4 or 5 years, whatever ago, you had such an impact on me. And
Mhm.
yeah, we don't do it for that, but it's really nice if people come back to us and tell us like, hey,
Mhm.
there was actually something that really, that's nice. So that's yeah, that's wonderful to have such. For me, a really nice situation. You changed my life.
Mhm.
Let's move to that next question. Do you have personal agility to share?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I don't know if it's agility, if it's productivity, however you call it, right? But I believe we teach people many things like, okay, do iterative process, do visualization or whatever with Kanban or whatever else. But sometimes I think we don't highlight enough how is it important to arrange the hygiene of our work, of our intellectual work. And um, one big thing from all these books which are popular these days, like, Atomic Habits or Deep Work or something like this, is maybe third book I should mention here is the, oh my, it's called Smudge by Taylor and Sunstein. Now I forgot about it. It's like how we design our environment around us in order to succeed with what we want to do. And I'll give you a simple example. I have a calendar which is available to pretty much all my clients, potential leads, etc. Just like we set our call or whatever, right? And of course, I have days when I want to focus on something, when I want to achieve something, build a new class program, I don't know, dig into data from the customer or something like this. And the key tip that I found is that I use this Microsoft Office 365, and there's a feature which allows you that the calendar is booking the focus time for you. So
Wow.
basically it automatically generates, for example, 2 hours of focus time and 1 hour for lunch every day. And if it knows that you have a session with a client in the evening, it's gonna, like, book this focus time in the morning or vice versa, right? And of course, I'm not advertising product here, but I found it like so helpful that it protects my calendar, it protects my focus, right? And of course, it's just one trick. Of course, you could do it by yourself, right? But when it happens automatically, when it automatically fills in the gaps in your calendar, of course, to certain volume that you defined, this is such a great help, right? Because I wouldn't be able to focus, to protect myself from over communication, from being bombarded with different signals, and this is a great way that basically I see it as designing the environment I'm at, right? So if I want to
Mhm.
focus, it's not like I'm going to have a strong will and not answer Teams or Slack messages. No, it's like I do it upfront. Then I have the silent mode, private mode, whatever on communicators, and then I have it available for me. And maybe our listeners, our viewer will say, "Oh, that's obvious," but that's not obvious to so many people that I see struggling in their professional environment, right? So people being constantly bombarded by messages, by instant messengers, whatever, and then they find themselves really frustrated, saying like, "Oh, it's end of the day and everything from my to-do list is still to do, right? Like, what have I
Mhm.
accomplished, right?" And I believe we have this fear of missing out, fear of not being available, that okay, I'm gonna turn the do not disrupt mode for 2 hours and the universe is gonna collapse exactly in these 2 hours. No, that's not gonna happen, right? I mean, if something really serious will happen, people will probably try to call you on the phone anyway, right? And yeah, I don't want to say like I'm super strict with it and always successful with it, but the kind of tip that I can give to anyone is like try it, right? Try it, like booking your slots, call it deep work, call it focus time, whatever. Maybe use the application similar to the one that I mentioned, because it helps you, right? You don't need to have it in the back of your head. You just open the calendar and you look, oh, now it's like the time to focus. What's the best way for me to use this time? And yeah, that's my tip.
Yeah, I really like that. I actually have an agenda point Friday. I think it's at 4 o'clock. That there is indeed it's focus time, and it's an agenda I have now. I think I've shared it with probably more than 100 people. So people with who I've worked with at previous companies, and when they said, "Oh, is that?" and because the reason why I shared it is that before there was an agenda point just for myself, but if it's people look in your agenda and then they see, oh, but this is focus time. Oh, I can disturb Eve and I can ask
Yeah.
another question.
Yeah,
And if I
yeah.
share it with more people, then see, oh, it's a meeting, so they leave me alone. And so now
Exactly.
I have a focus time with 100 people, and all of
Yeah.
us we don't go there. There is no meeting, but it's just I can focus on myself and have a look and do stuff, and it's so wonderful because it's so needed.
Right.
It's
True.
it's
True.
a crazy idea to think that we can just work and that we don't need to focus. It's
Yeah, and it's very sad that in so many environments people see as a kind of sign of professionalism this high availability to any noise. I'm not saying signal, a noise, right? So like whatever, there's a message on our Teams or Slack channel, and I feel like obliged to read it, obliged to answer it immediately, right? And what does it do to our focus? What does it do to our productivity?
yeah, that's definitely there is definitely. And I wanted to also, because you mentioned the two books, Atomic Habits and Deep Work. These are the two books that you mentioned that are indeed really good to learn people, teach people a little bit why that is important, because there is
Yes.
there is a lot of science behind it. Deep Work goes about that. Atomic Habits for me goes more to teach you a little bit on some of these things. Really wonderful. Personal agility, I think, really important.
Yeah.
Look how you, for whatever reason, whatever tool that can help you focus. Basically, that's
True.
you can do it using that you mentioned. Really wonderful. Let's move to remote work. What have you learned?
Remote work. um, it's again related to maybe basics, but I I see this challenge that we have all these great tools to work remotely, like like the tool that we are using now, right? And we cannot really distinguish what these tools are good for and what is really needed to work efficiently and in a focused way remotely. And I'm going to give you the example. I had a workshop with like a senior HR people some weeks ago, and suddenly there was discussion about, okay, what are the good tools that we use? And someone criticized Teams, like Teams are awful tool. We shouldn't use it. And then that was the workshop which also introduced like the topic of visualization of work, so like having one source of truth, like some kind of Kanban board, etc. And I realized that these people are basically even, you could say, arguing or having a debate about these tools, and they don't distinguish like that the tools are for different tools are for different reasons or different use, right? So of course, having tool like the one for video calls is great for video calls, but it doesn't mean that it's automatically a great tool for having a shared visualization of what we do. I know that there are many, combos, like, in Teams you have Planner or whatever, but but the whole argument was, I would say, this kind of false dichotomy: is Teams good or not? Because like the real answer, the real question is like, what the Teams are good for and what are not. And if they are not good for
Right.
visualizing work, then what should we use instead, right? And for me, the big thing that I keep learning is that, despite all these messy years of COVID and now post-COVID years, we have so many people, so many companies believing that they know how to work remotely, but they don't. And I'm not saying I'm an expert here, but I still see so many, inefficiencies, so many false dichotomies that it's this tool or another tool. I mean, okay, what do we need it for? And I'm gonna go back to the topic. What I have learned is that, people hear so different things with their inner voices when other people are talking about the work, that the really visualization is here important, right? So it's okay, if we talk about the work, if we should see it, right? We should see each other in small screens, and see the board, and someone should be hovering with his mouse cursor to really attract us that, hey, this is the task that we are talking about. Because in the remote environment, it's so easy to be distracted, it's so easy to just swing by, right? And this is really big challenge, and I keep learning like how differently people perceive what is a good remote work, what is how should we use these tools. And these days we have this whole mess of back to office policies, which again, it's not going to help us if okay, I'm back to the office, but I'm in the office in Wrocław and you are in the office in your place, but still we are a virtual team, right? And we don't have the right tools, the right visualization, the right tools to write things, to work remotely in a good way.
I love that so much, because indeed, what does remote work, what does hybrid work, what does working in the office mean?
Yeah.
Is it all in this same small little room that I am in, or is it indeed all in our office, but then spread around the world, maybe in different time zones to make it even worse? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a total different ball game. And
Right.
yeah, we've learned, I think, thanks to COVID, that there was a possibility to work from home, because we were all forced to do it, and
Yeah.
yeah, things didn't completely fall apart, and sometimes improved. Hey, that there is difference doing that for 3-4 months with every work that's already prepared, and doing it for 30 years, and still there are other companies who have been doing remote for, yeah, over time zones and everything for a very long time. But what does it mean? We really need to look, and I love so much how you say it, like, okay, when we're discussing tools, yeah, look at the boundaries. What are we discussing about? Yeah, that's just like saying a car is bad or a knife is bad. Well, it
Yeah.
depends on what you want to do. I mean,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, knives can be good and knives can be bad at all at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
And that same thing is for a tool. What do I want to do with it? So basically, what I'm hearing is also as a kind of tip is like, know what limit your discussion around what you want to know about the tool, at when things are good. And yeah, also I would say then a lot depends also about how things are configured, because I think I've worked close to 7 years, maybe 10 years on Teams, and I don't think I've ever seen one configuration or one way how
Yeah.
Teams looks same in different kind of companies, because
Mm-hmm.
Teams allows, just like many Microsoft applications, it allows to be configured in so many different
Yeah.
ways, and that is both good and bad, because
Mm-hmm.
that can
Yeah.
block you from doing certain stuff. So really, let's move already at next question about a book. What's a book? And we just already talked a bit about some books, but what is a book brought?
Yeah. So the book I wanted to introduce to our viewers, or maybe not, is a book by two Swedish authors, and the book is called "This Is Lean."
And this is the book, if
Exactly.
I'm correct?
Yes, right. So we have Nicholas Modig and Per Alstom. I'm not best with Swedish names, so sorry if um, uh, I pronounce it incorrectly. And why? Wow, this is the impactful and short book. This is important that it's short because people
Mhm.
these days don't have time to read long books. And it's impactful because what I love about this book is like it starts with this story, with this narrative. So I don't want to spoil anyone reading this book, but it starts with a person uh, who is afraid about her health, and she wants to be diagnosed, but she finds herself in this busyness culture, I could say it this way, at which we are all in our workplaces. So everyone is busy, but nothing is really done. And this is like a really nice introduction, again, by analogies to real life situations, to what is really productivity, what is really efficiency, what is really all this work that we do about, how to say that we succeeded, and how to really generate value. And of course, there's like this short narrative part in the beginning of the story, then maybe more elaboration on, what is lean as a concept, how misunderstood it is, and
And you're back.
okay,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what happened.
I don't know either, but okay. Um, yeah, so the book is really great as a starter for someone who wants to understand the concepts behind lean, but also agile. I would say that's not
Mhm.
much different. Um, and yeah, I really think this is a book that I recommended to many people. Actually, getting ready for this interview, I tried to find my paper copy, and I realized that someone borrowed it from me and didn't give me back. So I cannot hold the paper copy here with me,
Mhm.
because it's somewhere in the universe, probably, hopefully, impacting someone's ways of thinking.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but I believe this is like one of the few books that I recommended to many people, and I again received feedback like, oh, that was really short, precise, really impactful book to read. Um, and again, I don't want to spoil, but there are like few concepts in these books which are like really resonating with so many challenges that we see. There's this paradox of busyness or efficiency, uh, which many customers, stakeholders, managers in knowledge work would like to achieve. So on one hand, we want everyone to be busy, but on the other hand, we want everyone to be creative and discovering what is true value, and we want the flow of work to flow fast, which is unfortunately contradictory to each other, right? So like you need to choose, or like the authors explain, maybe navigate the whole ecosystem, right? There are points where we can be more efficient in, like, utilizing our time, but
Mhm.
definitely that's not the goal. And we need to, I would say, with some kind of humble approach, accept that we are never going to reach this north star, right, of both flow and resources efficiency. um but that's just fine, because everyone in the universe operates in this domain, right? It's not like our business, our company is somehow worse. Everyone is basically playing by the same rule book. So yeah, I don't want to spoil the book more. Maybe I got the viewer interested. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you made a good, yeah, publication or advertisement. That's the word I was looking for for this book. It definitely triggered me. Or well, it's interesting, like you say, it's the smaller books. I'm like, okay, I also read bigger books, but at the same
Sure.
time, I realize like, okay, there still are books there behind me that I
Mm-hmm.
might not have read fully. So a smaller book is definitely easier to finish. So that is important.
I have one more comment maybe, because I had
Mhm.
this privilege of interviewing Niklas Modik to my podcast, and we talk
Mhm.
about, like, what we optimize organizations for, the busyness or flow or something like this, and now I have this reference in my head that when I said what drives me is like this, drive for improvements, right? But you said, well, sometimes it's reasonable to let go, to say like, okay, I should stop,
Mhm.
right? And now I recall this great example from conversation with Niklas, that of course there are things that you want to optimize, there are things that you want to improve, maybe like the diagnostic process that they start with in the book, right? But he
Mhm.
said, okay, but if you have this box of Christmas decorations that you use only once a year, is it really important that put everything in the exact order? Or
Mm.
can you just uh, accept that maybe there's going to be a mess of the cables and I don't know, other decorations, um, uh, because I believe the time that we have, the effort that we would need to put in such things is like not rewarding, not paying off, right? So it's good to distinguish when it makes sense to say it's good as it
It's good
is.
enough. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've recognized that. Of course, it depends a little bit if I have to look at the mess of the cables all the time. Then
True.
there might be another advantage. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely recognize that there's a couple of things that yeah, this is for me also the same thing with my books. There's the books aren't in a certain order, and some people
Uh-huh.
don't like it. But I actually think it's an advantage because I might discover other books. There is the disadvantage is that, like you just said, that one moment that you need a book,
Yeah.
that it might take me longer. But yeah, there is the serendipity of finding other things. And for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to spend time ordering my books in a certain way and whatever. No,
Yeah.
it's like okay, that's I will put in different kind of systems time to, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
that part. Like, what part do I want to invest? And yeah, of course, a lot of developers sometimes have that they want to automate everything, even if it's
Oh
just
yeah.
one time used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we will. I have been yeah have been doing that myself as well. Like, okay, even if I don't want, if I have to do it a little bit, I will try to find it. But I think over the years I've learned, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't program, and maybe I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, definitely, yeah. Um, really wonderful. Let's move to already for me one of the most interesting questions. What question do you think I should also ask you, Stia?
Oh my, I'm totally unprepared for it.
You're not the first one saying this, but
Okay.
yeah, is there? And what I've noticed is that I can give you a little bit time, and many people then come up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, eh, that's maybe entertaining to some or not. You can ask me, yeah, about my education, what kind of studies I finished, because that's again something that I'm not afraid that I failed in something.
Mm.
Yeah, so asking me about my education is something that may be worth asking, and interesting to hear for others.
So, what about you?
So what about it? I started after graduating the high school, astronomy at the university. I was huge fan of it. I was like always an amateur astronomer, and I knew that this is like super hard math and informatics and whatever. I still did it, and I discovered after a year that's not for me. And many people would find it like maybe as a fail, but that wasn't a fail because I met great people there that I'm still contacting. so that's the interesting thing. And I always say it like publicly, that we can benefit from things that we or others would see is a failure. And I believe, yeah, this is opening to many people when I share this story, that okay, what is fail, right? Did something horrible to my life? Did I hurt myself? Did something bad to someone? No, that was just a lesson that's not for me. And knowing what you don't want is, I would say, sometimes even more important uh, than knowing what you want. Of course, there's this like, be careful what you wish for, right? But I believe like that the life is in between. And after dropping off these studies, I turned completely, I'm saying, from the macro scale of universe to micro scale of cells and DNA, because I graduated as a master in biotechnology. So I completely changed the field of study, which was a great lesson to understand how universe works and our bodies and everything around us. Yeah, so don't know
And
how.
when you were in the middle, because I can imagine now it's easier to look back and say,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't fail, and I basically I swapped and I moved
Hmm.
in a different direction. How does it feel when you were in the middle of that? Did it feel like a failure, or did you already realize, no, 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 this is totally not for me? This is actually better to stop than to keep
Hmm.
pursuing, because
Hmm.
I sometimes I know some people that continued because they didn't want to fail, and actually when
Hmm.
they look back, they feel like it's more a failure that I continued because I already knew after half the time
Mm.
that I wouldn't be happy. Was there? How was that for you?
I remember that period as a period of being stressed, as maybe feeling it's a failure because, well, I don't know, failure. It was like mismatch between my expectations or my vision how it's going to be and how it actually was. And well, I believe for any person who's not a robot, it's always stressful and somehow sad or like situation that make you upset, right? But mm, it, I was then truly convinced that I want to go the other way, so like study biotechnology, and I was super happy for it in the end. And you are right. Now, from the perspective, it was really important to realize that don't go into this sunk cost fallacy trap, right? That you invested so much time and so much effort that it doesn't make sense to say enough is enough. Um, and again, I don't want to play smart ass that I always do it this way in my life because I'm just human being. But I think lessons like this, yeah, showed me again that we cannot really predict the outcome of things which yeah, at the moment of happening, we see as failures or great successes.
That's that is kind of a little bit kind of the answer I was looking for, in understand how that works. I'm so happy that you say that you don't always do it that way, because
No.
otherwise you put the bar very high,
No.
which sometimes people think that when we hear stories like that, and they think,
No.
wow, these people are so smart. Well, yeah, it's
No,
somehow
no, 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 no.
discovered
I
along the way.
and this is another trick. When I try to say to people like professionally that, hey, people are irrational, people are emotional in decisions, I like to say we are emotional. We are irrational, right? Like if we are in the room with the board of executives or whatever, it's important that we speak in this language that, hey, you may disagree now with me, but we are irrational, right? Like I lately found interesting example in my hometown. So the registration plates of cars, we ran out of numbers. They were starting with DW, and now they started giving the DX. And they also freed the policy this way that if you buy a used car, you don't need to change the license plates. So you could save like maybe 40 euros or like equivalent in Polish zloty for saying like, I want to leave the old plates, right? And now if you if you go outside, you see hundreds of old cars with new plates. And this is for me like economically like a proof that people are irrational, because if you live in this if you haven't registered the new car but you bought an old car and this old car had already like registration plates, why the heck you spent these 40 euros on the new numbers, right? And if people would be rational, if people wouldn't want to have this extra touch of freshness of new registration plates on your car, we wouldn't see so many of them. And I'm afraid that we're going to run out of the numbers soon again. Yeah. Because people don't. Yeah.
I can say in Belgium that we even went the opposite way. I know that my father, the registration for the Belgian cars, the number plate, as long as I was, I don't know, being born till maybe 20, maybe even 30, my father had multiple cars but had the same registration plate because we didn't have to change. But these days, we are forced. Every time you buy a car, you have to change. It doesn't matter if it's a second hand, if it's a new car, you have to have a new registration plate. And of course, from the Belgian government, it's smart because it brings in money. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but this creates also a lot more. I don't know. We will run out of registration plates at some moment because I know that they already put number in before. So before it was 6 digits, now I think it's 7. I don't know the exact, but so they keep finding techniques on how to do that. There might be an advantage because registration plate is linked to one car with one person, so there is some advantages to that. But I don't remember. I literally don't remember my own license plate for my car every time. So these days, in Belgium, if I park underground, so they have smart things with cameras. So I don't have to do anything. I just drive in, and when I want to go out, I just have to go pay, and I have to put in my license plate, and then I can pay. And I literally always have to look it up on my phone because I don't remember, even if I have it already for a couple of years. Because I've had. It's not that I had many cars, but still, it's because the fact that it's changing, it's harder for me. So that's that. If like I still know the license plate number of my father from my youth, even though he had 3-4 different license plates since. I don't remember these, but that very first car I still remember. And like I said, I don't remember mine. So and this is also where the unlogical. I mean, every country is figuring out their own system, having and they're all inventing all things. It's like, come on. At the same time, I'm driving my car. If I go, I prefer to go on holiday by car because I don't want to take planes and everything for some of from. But that means if I drive to Poland or to France or to Spain, whatever, they might want to register my car for if I speed or if I park on the wrong plate. Then they all have to recognize this car, and they all have to be able to go to Belgium. Like, hey, who's that person with that car? So they all have to interact one way or another, but they all have different kind of rules of how many letters, how big. It's very unlogical.
Yeah.
Especially for Europe. It's indeed how we see that we as country or as species, we are not
Yeah.
parallel.
No.
I reckon. I want to move to already that last question. Who do you think I should ask next?
I'm thinking about two people. One person is the author of the book that I already mentioned, or co-author. I believe Niklas Modik would be a great person to talk to.
I think
Exactly.
that's Nicola.
Yes, exactly. I can.
You said already some nice things about the book. So you mentioned also he came on your podcast at person. Why do you think I should invite him?
For me, it was like a really nice surprise talking to him during the interview. I expected that he will maybe tell me the story of what's behind the book, etc. But he surprised me with like really amazing stories that in the end basically led to the topic of what we discussed. So I'm pretty sure he has not run out of such stories. So so maybe
Most people
that's a
typically don't.
so maybe that would be another opportunity to document one of these stories in your podcast, in your video. So I would say that's the reason. A second person is the person that I meet occasionally, Helen Meek. So our
This is
British
Helen.
Kanban queen. Exactly. Yeah. Great person in Kanban community for so many years. She is the one that not only delivers great services to customers, but pretty every Kanban trainer, I guess, in Europe has some kind of opportunity to work with her because she teaches new trainers. So classes for train the trainers. Yeah. So and also great person to I guess talk to.
Thank you very much. These nice introductions to two people. I already look forward to having a conversation with them. Now, Radek, if people want to connect with you, what's a good way to reach out to you?
Okay, what's the best way? Probably find me on LinkedIn. I know that some people say, these days LinkedIn is not the LinkedIn that we had years ago, which is
Yes,
true. But still, I'm the most responsive there. So exactly, if you can, master Polish by spelling correctly my last name, Orszewski.
That's why I left it here, and I will of course add it to the show notes as well.
Yeah. I need to also tell the story like my full formal name is Radosław, but no one can speak it or Buchstabieren in German or whatever. That's why it says Radek, because that's the short form. It's a problem because I cannot have this certified or whatever now LinkedIn gives, because I have a different name in ID than not that I would care, but that's just a funny story. That's the best way. If you are by any chance a Polish speaker, then I have this podcast Kanban przy kawie. That's Kanban over coffee. Exactly. It's an audio on Spotify or some other platforms. There's some video episodes. If you're not a Polish speaker, you will find lots of episodes with English speaker guests. For example, I mentioned the interview with Niklas Modik. So many people from Kanban, Agile, Lean community are interviewed there. And if you rewind the or fast forward the Polish intro, then there's usually not interrupted interview in English with guests. So maybe that's valuable for someone.
I thought so too. That's why I prepared the link. I thought it does have some with guests. That is possible to understand. Like you say, you have to scroll past that, because the first time I saw an interview, I don't remember anymore who it was, but I saw an interview with someone like, oh, I want to see it, and it's like, oh, is this person also speaking Polish? And then it's like, let's scroll a little bit, and so it's a good reminder for people that there might be an so that. Now, Radek, I really want to thank you for your time, because it's been a wonderful hour and a half. It's really fun. having this conversation and hearing about your wonderful stories. Teaching people how to sail a boat to Kanban and working remotely. So really, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I'm happy that we again connected after many years, because like preparing for this interview, we discovered that we both were at the AIL conference in Berlin many years ago. I guess that was one of the first editions of it, and it was influential event for me, and you said for you as well. So yeah, that's
It
great to
was
connect.
indeed, and I looked up when you told me like okay, we met each other there. I looked up a little bit in my notes, and I think you were talking. I didn't find a moment to bring it up, but I think you were talking about professional cycling or something, or what we could learn from that. And I still remember
True.
The notes are still there.
Amazing.
Everything around it is a little bit blurry. But yeah, this is also nice to see how indeed more than 10 years, almost 15 later, we still come into, because there were like, I don't know, small 200 people at that conference, but we spread out, and some of us we met again, and others we only met here again. It was a wonderful that still is keep going. Actually, this year in August, back in it will be for the first time in Belgium. So yeah, I'm not yet sure how I will be able to join, because my children might be having exams at university, but I'll definitely. It's one of the things I hope to go back to. Really, to think back. Well, I say this year, but it's actually
next year,
because it's already we're already in October.
Yeah.
Things are going fast.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Radek, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks again.
Well, maybe see you somewhere at another.
Exactly. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for watching Who's Agile, where the stories of agilists come to life. I hope you liked today's interview. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and want to get to know other agilists.